I was a typical secular Jewish girl growing up in Brooklyn, going to public school. At the time, the Rebbe had a program bringing public school girls into Beis Rivka at no charge. We were not expected to be frum, and we were accepted just the way we were. I got to know Mrs. Tiechtel as the principal of that school. She was very involved in all of our lives. I would be coming there on the subway every day from Brighton Beach. To be honest, sometimes we would come in jeans and then put the skirt on just before we go into Beis Rivka. But the year that I spent in Beis Rivka, that had a lasting impact on me. I saw life the way it should be lived. I saw the way I would want my family to be in the future. I felt in Beis Rivka that I was learning truth, but I didn't embrace it in my life.
The lasting impression that Beis Rivka made on my mother is that Torah's emes and the Rebbe's emes. And so this is what we lived with. We knew that Yiddishkeit is real, it's emistic, and we just weren't there yet. We were what my siblings and I jokingly call non-practicing Orthodox.
I thought all schools were run by a woman like Mrs. Tiechtel, and that's what I was expecting. And my middle daughter wanted to go at that point to Chabad High School, and the principal wouldn't let her in.
My mother cried and cried. I'll never forget her searing pain. She just kept saying, this isn't the Rebbe's way.
And then the idea came to me, I know who to turn to. I know who to call. And I called Mrs. Tiechtel, who I hadn't spoken to for 25 years. I found her number, I gave her a call, I told her the whole story. She got on the phone with this rabbi and spoke to him for an hour and a half. The next thing you know, I get a call from him, and he says, bring your daughter.
I first met Mrs. Tiechtel in 1980. We were her two boarders that lived in her basement. We felt like more than boarders, we felt like family. We ate our meals with the Tiechtels. We had Shabbosim with them. We had a lot of fun down in that basement. One night we had a learn-a-thon where we stayed all night long and had different speakers coming every hour. The warmth and the welcoming environment in that home was something I will never forget. It was 12th grade, so we were all very excited for our graduation trip. We were really excited for everything that comes along with 12th grade. And then I got a text on my grade chat saying that graduation trip was exactly the same day as my sister's wedding. And obviously I was really disappointed. I was sitting next to my mother and I was like, Achma, like, I'm not gonna be able to go to a graduation trip. I was like, they're not gonna change one thing for a girl in a grade of 150. About 2 weeks later, I was walking through the hallway and Mrs. Tiechtel calls me over and she's like, oh, Hannah, I'm so sorry. I really tried to change the dates. We called the resort and they weren't able to change the dates. I'm so sorry that we weren't able to change it for you. I didn't expect her to come over to me and tell me anything. I didn't expect her to try to change anything for me. And not only had she made the effort, not only had she gone out of her way for me and shown me that compassion, but she had made sure to come over to me and tell me herself. I carry with me this example of Mrs. Tiechtel. She's a woman who would be able to give her all at work and give her all at home. And when I think about it, the two 17 or 18-year-old girls making us feel like we're such an important and valued part of her life, when she really had so many other important things to do, that's a talent that is something you can't teach. That's something that's inborn. Now I teach in Beis Rivka, and I really try to put in that effort, make sure to recognize my students, make sure to go out of my way for them, and hopefully make the same lasting impact that Mrs. Tiechtel made on me.
My 3 daughters are married to 3 frum men. They're Chabad. My 15 grandchildren, all Chabad. From Mrs. Tiechtel's devotion to one student, hundreds of others are being impacted.
Amidst thousands of Talmidos, each and every one is an individual. And this is what Hakel is all about. Gathering all Yidden, but looking at each one as an individual. And if you're wondering what that looks like, you just have to take a look at Morah.